Hello everybody, today I am going to show you how to make your own custom painted phone case, and you can do this with any phone case for any phone using any image that you want. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing you're going to need is something to protect the surface that you're working on. I'm using a cutting mat, but you can use some cardboard or something like that just to protect it from scratches. You're going to need a blank phone case. It can be white or any other color that you prefer. Some sort of a stencil for your design. I'm using a Wendy silhouette, but you can use whatever design you like. You're going to need a utility knife because we are going to be cutting the design so that you can make the stencil. A Sharpie knife, preferably a fine point one because it's more precise and easier to work with. And this is like a paint marker. It's not actual ink, it's actually acrylic paint. I got this at Office Max. You can get them off Amazon as well, and they're really good. They also come in a lot of different colors, so you can use whatever color you need for your particular design. You're gonna need some tape. Whatever kind of tape you have on hand is fine. Some cotton pads, and just in case you make any mistakes, I found that the best tool to use is a pointed Q-tip. You'll be needing some alcohol to wipe down the phone case before we begin, and just in case you make any mistakes afterwards, and some Mod Podge. You can use whatever finish you prefer. I'm going to be using a matte finish. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take a cotton pad and just spritz it with some alcohol, and you're going to use that to wipe down your phone case so that you can get any dirt or any oils that might have gotten on the case from you touching it. It's really important that you do this because this is what's going to prep the surface so that the paint can adhere to it better and it doesn't peel off or anything. The next thing to do is to prepare your stencil, and for that you're just going to take your utility knife and start cutting out your image. You can use regular paper for printing out your image, but I do recommend to use something like cardstock or just premium paper, something that has a little bit more stiffness to it because it'll be easier to work with when you're tracing out your image. I also recommend making several smaller cuts as opposed to one long, swift cut because it's easier for you to mess up if you try to get everything at once. So just remember that smaller cuts give you more control over what you're doing. So once you're done with that, you can just detach your image. Now, it's a good idea for you to check back and just go over any rough edges that you might have left behind with your utility knife. And that's it. Now your stencil is ready. The next step is to tape your stencil to your phone case. Now in my case, I'm making a design where I have to match up the Wendy case with a Peter Pan case. I'm making a pair of cases, so I have to make sure that these align perfectly. So that's why I'm placing the other case, which I made beforehand, right next to it so that I can make sure that it's perfectly aligned. Now, if you like these silhouettes, I have to take this chance to give some credit to the person who made them. I didn't make them, I just manipulated the bottom portion so that they would align into a heart, but the actual silhouettes I found online, so I will place a link in the description box to the artist who made these silhouettes. Once you've placed your stencil where you want it to go, then just start tracing your outline with your Sharpie pen. Now again, since I'm making these as a pair, I'm just making sure that everything matches perfectly. So now you're ready to take off your stencil, and you're going to be left with a hopefully clean and neat outline. This is a paint marker. I had never used this before. I got this at Office Max. I was just browsing around and I saw it and I thought it would be perfect for this project, and it turns out it is. It's so much easier to use than if you were to use paint. You can use paint using a paintbrush, but if you want to get really clean edges, I think that this is the perfect product to use. Now, I don't want to seem like I'm shamelessly promoting this product, but it really has left me very impressed. It's the easiest thing to work with. It's a lot easier than working with a brush, since those are also prone to leaving streaks or brush strokes, and as far as I can tell, and I hope that you can too, this just leaves a perfect opaque finish. So my silhouette is done. Now I'm just checking once again that everything is properly aligned. And next I'm going to be fixing up a little mistake that I made. If it had been a bigger mistake, then you could just go in with the pointed Q-tip and some alcohol, and you can just clean anything up that you need to. Now you don't have to do this next step, but I'm going to take the black paint over to the side because I don't want there to be any gaps between the two cases if I put them next to each other. So I'm just taking some tape so that I can make a straight line. And you could also eyeball it if you want, but I just find that it's a lot easier if you give yourself a straight edge as a reference to begin with. Now all that's left to do is to add some more paint. Take the tape off and you should be left with straight lines. Now this is paint, so it does tend to run a little bit, and because it's right there on the edge, it did run. So as you can see, I don't have perfectly straight lines, but we're going to fix that just now. So I'm just going to pick up that Q-tip that I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to dip it in some alcohol and slowly and carefully start wiping away all that excess paint. Once again, I'm checking to make sure that everything is aligned, and the next step is to seal the paint. To apply the Mod Podge, you want to use a foam sponge brush. I just find that this is the easiest tool to work with, and they come in different sizes, so you can use whatever size is most convenient for you. I prefer a bigger brush because it just takes up the whole of the phone case in one stroke, so it makes it all go a lot faster. Make sure to apply a thin, even layer, and to let the layer or coat of Mod Podge dry before you apply the next coat. Anywhere from 2 to 5 coats is best. The more the merrier, because it'll just further protect your case. And there you go. That's what the final case looks like. You can use this method with any image that you like, any colors that you want, and just have fun with it. Make sure that you always keep the paint around, so if you ever do scratch it up a little bit, that you're able to do any touch-ups. So that's it. I'll try to include as many links below as I can. And I hope that you have a fun time with your project, and stay tuned for a video where you can do the same thing but using vinyl stickers. See you later. Bye!